Welcome to Deep Thought, the power of writers. And, of course, there's a little bit of bias when I say this. It's kind of my world. Anyway, the power of writers. Writers are powerful. Writers are powerful. That's why, like in countries where, the military might overthrow the government, they'll go for journalists first. Now, why are writers powerful? Because writers create ideas, and ideas are from which they move. For those who followed the Hermetic philosophy, for those who follow, and everybody don't follow, but just respect it for this video. Those who follow it, the first thing is everything is mental. And really, when you think about it, even if you don't follow that particular philosophy, everything is mental. Now, what do writers do? They cause you to think. Whether the writer is writing fiction or especially nonfiction. You read the stuff and all of a sudden you have an idea. If you really look at, if you look at this whole planet, if you look at everything, the systems of government, economies, spiritual systems, they're based on the written word. A whole lot of them. Not every single one, but let's just say most of them. And indeed, a writer can write down stuff that's based on oral tradition. And think about that. Like I'll use myself for an example. A lot of people are familiar with me because they've read my books. And they've actually applied the information. That's powerful if you think about it. Think about how powerful that is. My viewpoint, my philosophy on relationships, people have applied it. And indeed, even some of my fiction stuff, there's been some people who read some works of fiction that I've had, and they said it really touched them. It really got them to thinking. I remember I first realized this back in the mid-90s when I wrote, the very first thing I published was, you could call it a pamphlet, a short story called The Perfect Man. And it was about a man who was he was wearing a mask with two different women. Right? And I didn't think much of it. I'm not gonna lie, it was just a story to me. But many people, they came back and they read it and they were like, oh, that really got me to thinking about some things. And I was like, what? And that's another part of the story that got me like doing relationships anyway. But a lot of people changed their thoughts. A lot of men, they were thinking about what they were doing who read it. And many women were thinking about what they were doing. They read it. They were like, yeah, it was like, wow. But see, the power of a writer is it causes you to think. You reading it, you thinking no matter what. You're thinking no matter what. Because in a way, you're talking with someone else, but you're reading their thoughts. And then you can go back and read it over and over. And then, whether you choose to follow those thoughts or you choose to ignore those thoughts, you still reading their thoughts. And if you choose to follow those thoughts and you change your lifestyle based on those thoughts, that's powerful right there. A single writer can change something. A single writer can create a world. A single writer can create a world, a subculture, based on it. And that's actually happened just from some stuff. Writers might write something. In fact, had someone close to me, they were telling me about how different sections of YouTube have actually been created by single writers. It's like, okay. Because think about somebody writes a book they write a book and it involves a subculture, a way of thinking and everything. And then people read it. But then not just read it, but it changes them to the point where they decide to employ it. They employ the thoughts. They change their lifestyle to match what they read in the book. And then you get a critical mass of them. They can actually change a society. That's how powerful it is. Like if you think about someone like Karl Marx, or you think, Karl Marx, Friedrich Nietzsche, how powerful were their books? How powerful were their thoughts? And it's not even about them making money so much. Yeah, that's great if you make money, but think about it. Ayn Rand, who wrote the phenomenal book Atlas Shrugged, how many people followed her thoughts? That writer simply put together some thoughts and people followed it. Think about how powerful that is. Like somebody, like all they need is really just maybe one person. Think about it, but if it's the right person to read their thoughts in, like, let me give an example. Like say somebody writes a book. Nobody buys a book except for one person. But that one person is in a position where they can influence others. That one person might do a book review on YouTube or something like that. Or that person might say, hey, I want to follow this, so I'm going to follow this philosophy and everything. I'll give credit to the writer, but I'm going to follow it. All of a sudden, you got a bunch of people following this thought. And everything has come from this one writer. Think about it. That's some powerful thoughts, because and people can see the books behind me and everything, and even many of the books that you might not see that they're not in camera angle. How many people are following that? The other week somebody wanted to know the author of a book that was right behind me, right over my shoulder. And, you think about that and you're just like, wow. Like a single writer is powerful. In fact, I'm just going to put it out there. That's why you have some people want to burn some books. They don't want people to follow the philosophy that's in those books, because people will read it and it's like, oh, okay, they're going to change something. You can't control people who can read, because then it's like how can I put this? You can't control them because they always have access to different thoughts, different ways of thinking, different ways of being. They can always create a new world. I want y'all to think about that. Like a single writer can change something. A single writer. And that writer might not be the most charismatic person, the best speaker, whatever. And like I said, that writer might get one person who might get the book, but then that one person is the one with the charisma and everything else. I want y'all to think about that. It's a powerful thing, all right? So anyway, that's all I have for now. I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.